This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hey, it's Brian Christopher. Ready to chill this summer? You're in luck. I'm hanging out at Chumba Casino, and you're in for a treat. Chillax with hundreds of games, daily bonuses, exciting spins, and epic prizes. It's all here, always free to play. Kick back, have fun, and head to ChumbaCasino.com. Let's make this summer legendary.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See T&Cs. 21+.
This is Rob Gronkowski from Dudes on Dudes. Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You can stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, or you can spice things up and try some unexpected pairings like dipping chicken wonton tacos in our honey Dijon mustard. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. That means it's tailgate time. And this season, the only meat I'm going to grill is Dietz and Watson. I'm loving the Black Angus Dietz dogs. They're flavor-packed, and you can tell they are made with the highest quality ingredients. Sundays just got a whole lot better. Visit DietzandWatson.com/therightway to learn more about the Dietz difference.
Your Wentz week has just been extended. Leader Fan Radio Network.
Thank you, everybody, for coming here.
And KFAN.com. 1 minute and 54 seconds past the hour of 3 o'clock Central Daylight Time. We welcome you back. It is a Monday edition of the Bumper to Bumper program on a Improving by the Minute Monday afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. I am the host of the program. My name's Dan Barreiro, former Inkster Wretch, newspaper of the Twin Cities. Guardsy is the producer of the show, 2-time state high school tennis champion and sideline reporter, Golden Gopher football as well. The Gophers returned to action after having this last week. They're the only team that didn't win because they didn't play, basically. We're delighted you are along for today's ride. Vikings Talking Points will be part of the discussion today, as will Ben Lieber, usual time, probably about 4:47. Adam Thielen is scheduled to join at about 3:30 this evening, or afternoon, I guess I should say, about a half hour from now. The Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line is wide open. I expect we'll get a lot today, 64686, in the wake of the Vikings edging the Cincinnati Bengals. What was the final, 48-10? That's the final score?
Sounds right.
I can't remember.
Let me pull up the sheet. 48-10.
48-10 was the final. Here's the, if we had a bumper-to-bumper question of the day, this might be it. Which team was more dominant over the weekend? The Vikings over the Bengals on Sunday, or the Indiana Hoosiers over Brett Bielema's Fighting Illini on Saturday?
That was something. That was something.
That was... I tried hard, and I think I succeeded not to turn a 1-hour edition of sermons into Hoosier hysteria line. But I had to mention it a couple times because it'll be good fodder for Mace in your face for sure. Because I told you I was worried about that game, not because I thought Illinois was great, but Indiana had literally played nobody, so you really couldn't measure them against anything. As it turns out, that didn't mean they didn't have a decent team. They did very well. And the Vikings, somebody said it, one of the players, maybe a couple of them, and the cliche applies. The Vikings had an afternoon that they needed, right? It was like everything you could have hoped for.
Yes.
For one evening, afternoon, to take sort of the heat off, the pressure off what had just taken place. You had play out in front of you. You had a backup quarterback who responded at the start of the game nicely and made enough plays, right? even though eventually it's such a laugher, he doesn't really have to play all that well. You have a defense that responded nicely to getting eaten up on the ground the week before. Probably helped that Cincinnati didn't have a running back named Bijan Robinson. And you had, and obviously the ball hawking nature of our secondary was confirmed once again. And then you had an opposing team, a visiting team, utterly cooperating with everything and anything you could have hoped for one afternoon. And so Wentz week is officially extended, carried over for at least another week. Now, it probably would have been carried over win or lose, because I doubt that J.J. McCarthy was going to be ready to go, even if Wentz was awful, even if he stunk yesterday. Maybe they would have considered your guy Brosmer. I don't know, but I doubt it. But it helps that he responds. They have a representative performance from him. He makes, probably most importantly, no big blunders in a game where it was just, if all the Vikings really needed to do was play fairly clean football and let the other team self-destruct. And the Bengals were in the mood to self-destruct over and over again. So Wentz week is extended. And by the way, the head coach confirmed it after the game. Although, again, I don't know. I didn't think that was that big a surprise. Maybe he felt like he wanted to extend good feelings to Wentz. Like, hey, you know what? He's going to get another chance. Like, we're so pleased with what you did. We're going to give you another opportunity.
We kind of knew that.
We kind of knew it, didn't we? I mean, regardless. And it's already started. I told you it would. And I'm going to try to cut to the chase on this. And I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not. By the way, Talking Points will be part of the show as always. Vikings Talking Points on a Monday after a Vikings Sunday game, brought to you by our good friends at Federated Insurance. I said this 2 weeks ago. I said, first of all, the football gods work in mysterious ways. No matter what your plans are, they often will say, screw your plans. This is what the direction you're going to go. Okay. And the second thing about it that's already, I think, started, this conversation has already begun, is, what are you going to do if he plays well again next week and the week after in Europe? What are you going to do? What if JJ's ready then? I think this is a no-brainer. I don't know if you do or not. The answer to the question is you're going to keep playing Carson Wentz for a while, I think. I don't even think it's a borderline decision. And I'll say again, don't fret over it if you're a J.J. McCarthy fan, because these things have a way of taking care of themselves. If the Vikings lose both games in Europe and Wentz struggles, this will be easy. Very easy to go right back to J.J. McCarthy, right? If the Vikings play okay, but Wentz is awful, similarly, it'll probably be easy to say, all right, cute little run. We like having him as a backup, but there's a reason we're committed to J.J. McCarthy. But if the Vikings keep winning games and Wentz is competent to very good, you keep playing him. That's not disrespecting, I don't think, J.J. McCarthy. He's been around football enough to know how it's going to work. Doesn't mean you're never going to see J.J. McCarthy again. And guess what? Let's say he leads them to the Europe two-step, that they sweep both games in Europe. And by the way, playing a really good defense in one of those games, as Cleveland proved to the Green Bay Packers.
That's right.
Just yesterday. Let's say he's great and they win both games. And then let's say then the next 2 weeks he struggles, or the next week, whatever. Then it'll be much easier to say we're going back to the kid, right? Why do people fret over this? I don't know. But they're already fretting like, well, what? I'm committed. This was the year for McCarthy, damn it. And you got to be committed to him and you got to stay true to him. That's not the way the NFL works. I don't think. That's not the way Kevin O'Connell or any coach works. You work in the present. And if you catch lightning in a bottle, or maybe just a little bit of thunder, you're going to play that out. And you're probably going to have enough confidence to think, well, Wentz will definitely, at some point, might come back to the pack, at which point then it becomes very easy for him to hand the baton back over to J.J. McCarthy. This isn't complicated, is it?
No, I'm thinking back to the last time we did this with Keenum and I think Teddy Bridgewater. I think that was the quarterback. Or maybe
Pro Bowl quarterback Ted Bridgewater.
But maybe there was somebody else, though, that got injured. It might have been Bradford. I can't remember.
Sam Bradford. What you mean when Keenum took over?
Yes.
That was Bradford, I think.
I think you're right because Teddy was still coming off his really bad
sure
injury.
It was Bradford, yeah.
And Teddy ended up coming back in late at the end of the year when it was a laugher, and Keenum loved it. He thought it was the greatest thing ever. But remember, Zimmer, for weeks, would be asked about it.
Yes.
And even though it was well past obvious that Keenum had earned the opportunity to continue to play, even though we all knew what Case Keenum was at some point. I know a lot of us, we lost ourselves in his eyes in his Players Tribune article.
Yes.
But it was absolutely the right thing to do to keep playing him at that same time. So I do think the same would apply. But what's the thing that has to apply? Wentz has to be playing well. If Wentz isn't playing well, like you said, then it's easy. It's just as easy to throw it back to JJ.
Yeah,
but we don't need to be pre-worried about it.
No,
That's
just
is that what Gleeman brought up one time? Like pre-frustrated
Yes.
or preemptive ripping?
There's no need.
No.
That's why I say and especially fans of this team, you should have experience with this. And I know you're crestfallen because you want the purity of what J.J. McCarthy represents, right? The idea from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, a whole season, he's the guy. And he's a young guy, so he's going to be the guy again next year, and then the next year, and for the next decade. I get that. And that could still happen. I'm not sitting here suggesting that Carson Wentz is going to win Comeback Player of the Year award. But I am saying you let it play out, and I absolutely am convinced. Well, put it this way. I think it would be malfeasance if you don't keep playing a quarterback who, as the Vikings win, is playing well. Again, they could win and he could struggle, and then that makes it a lot easier and maybe even a better debate point. But this isn't complicated. I've watched and covered too much pro football. Winning's hard. I don't care what anybody says. Winning is hard. The head coach has told us that before. And that being the case, if you're winning and you got a guy who's seemingly figuring it out, an experienced guy, maybe he's giving you a couple of things that you didn't have with the young guy, at least right now, even if he doesn't represent all of the promise and the purity that McCarthy does, you play it out and you enjoy it and you don't even fret over it. Because it's not like J.J. McCarthy's going away. It's not like J.J. McCarthy's going to demand a trade.
Probably not.
And you want to really project it? If Wentz is great this whole season, name me a team in the National Football League that would not want to have that problem. Right? I mean, now, you want it to not be like it went last year where Sam Darnold emerged and then we got to the late in the season and the postseason and then it was a cave-in, at which point you go, why weren't we playing McCarthy all along?
You have to clarify when you say the whole season. Do you mean the whole season or the whole season until the last two most important games?
Yeah.
That's got to be the clarification.
Well, as I said that, here's what 612 guy wrote. Carson will take us to a 13-3 season and then fall apart in Game 17 and the first game of the playoffs. I guess snarky minds think alike or something like that. And there are some scars. There's no question about that. All right, we'll get your reaction to the opener. Opener. I guess not the opener.
The opener of the Wentz era.
The Wentz era. Wentz and the extension of Wentz week. Get to some talking points. Prepare for Adam Thielen at the bottom of the hour. And we'll have a jolly old time between now and 6:30.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. That means it's tailgate time. And this season, the only meat going on the grill is Dietz and Watson. Some of my favorites are the Black Angus Dietz dogs, the Italian-style chicken sausage, and the Asiago spinach chicken sausage, just to name a few. Oh, and I love the jalapeno mustard. It's flavor-packed, and you could just tell Dietz and Watson uses the highest quality meats in every bite. Dietz and Watson was born in Philly in 1939, and they've been doing it the right way ever since. Visit DietzandWatson.com/therightway to learn more about the Dietz difference. This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels with white cheddar beer cheese, or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood.
Right here in the...
Step into the magic. The Minnesota Renaissance Festival runs weekends right now through September 28th. You can get your tickets at renaissancefest.com. Enter for your shot to win a pair of tickets on our contest page, KFAN.com, keyword contests.
We got 2 breaking news stories. I'm not sure if you're familiar with both of them, Guardsy. I think you might be with one of them. Disney announcing that your guy Jimmy Kimmel is back, or will be back, hosting his late night talk show tomorrow night, correct? Tuesday night?
Yes.
Kimmel is back. We don't know for how long. We don't know what has been negotiated. There's been a lot of discussion about the possibility that they were battling over what he was going to be willing to say. Was he going to do a mea culpa? Was he going to double down? Well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow night, and he might get a ratings boost that, frankly, he could use. I mean, the late night ratings across the board. Colbert was easily number 1. He got nailed. I don't know what Kimmel was, although I saw the number. Did I see that on a good night for him, there's 2.7 million people watching him? Is that possible?
Yeah,
it shows you
right.
how the degree to which late night is dying. I mean, that's part of the issue is that financially, everybody still wants the big bucks, but they're not pulling in the same numbers that they once did. That's item number 1. Here's the other one. Asia Wilson has been named NFL Defensive Player of the Week. Asia Wilson named NFL Defensive Player of the Week. And it's expected that it will be one of many honors that she will be winning in the coming days and weeks. NFL Defensive Player of the Week, and I must give proper credit to Flim Flam for that outstanding, snarky, pithy rejoinder.
I'm speechless about the whole thing, but not surprised.
Which one, Asia or Kimmel? Asia? Yeah, Asia.
I mean,
I did not have a problem with her winning it.
Defensive player, no. MVP, no. I don't know what I'm mad about. I guess Collier missed a lot of games.
Here's what I said yesterday. I don't know if you'll agree or not, that this is one of those years where if the announcement was that Collier won it, I'd have said deserved.
Mm-hmm.
If it was that Asia won it again, I'd say I can't argue with it because of, as you just nailed it. She missed a fourth of the season. Nafisa. She missed 11 out of 44 games. And you could say late, well, they were just being cautious.
Yeah.
She could have played if they didn't needed her.
That's true.
But and that's, you could say, being unfairly held against her. But I honestly think that's the distinction. I think Asia played 40 of 44.
I did look at that yesterday. And I was curious.
To me, that's the story. Whatever people think about this, you can't leave that out of the equation. If you miss a fourth of the season, doesn't mean you're a slacker. It just didn't. She was hurt. She was legitimately hurt. But I think, how many times in NBA MVP history has a player won it missing a fourth of the season? I bet never. Maybe, the one exception, well, I'll have to look it up, might be our guy, Bill Walton. Bill Walton, the year he won it, I think he missed a bunch of games. I'll double check it, I want to say. But I could see why the Lynx might be disappointed, but I can't argue with it. And I know she had 50, 40, 90.
Yep.
Asia was 50, 40, 85, I think. So,
but not 90.
Not 90. That's
not
technically
90.
true. And, and she's one of only two players, Nafisa, to ever do that. And I think the last one also won the MVP that year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's frustrating, but I can't, again, I can't lose my mind over it or say this is one of the great injustices in the history of basketball or in awards because of how many games that she indeed missed. How did you process the Vikings laugher over the gift that kept on giving, literally, the football, the Cincinnati Bengals?
In a couple of different ways. The first one was, I thought I was about to see it so clearly because if you remember correctly, and a couple people did remember it because they texted me, my prediction was the Vikings were going to score on their first possession. I had a deep Justin Jefferson touchdown, so that was out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were going to get a defensive touchdown. Cincinnati was going to kick 4 field goals. The Vikings were going to win 17-12.
Oh, so you had it, yeah.
And midway through the second quarter,
looked good.
It looked incredible. I was basically 3 Bengals field goals away from nailing it. And then Isaiah Rodgers happened again and got, the floodgates completely open with the strip and the scoop and score. That was the one where you knew it was going to be one of those days. And I think even on the second Jordan Mason touchdown, maybe the first, I think Romo said what a lot of us were thinking. There were some business decisions being made by the Bengals after that, right?
They quit.
They were not ready to roll up there and make sure that Jordan Mason didn't get into the end zone. So I think the way you said it in the first segment is the right way to say it. It was necessary. It was needed, I think, for everybody. There was a lot of tension. A lot of tension on the team, a lot of tension in the fan base, a lot of tension wondering what this season was going to look like. We spent all week talking about this stretch with the Bengals, Steelers, and Browns basically being must-haves given what's coming up. And so the fact that you could kick your feet up and go think about running some errands or going to an apple orchard or something at halftime on a Sunday at about 1:30, I think was a nice afternoon for everybody.
And of course, the irony is, and we're certainly, I don't think, the first to say it, is that game, for a brief stretch in the second quarter, started feeling like a game that the Vikings were going to allow the Bengals to get back into.
Mm-hmm.
It's 17-3 and they're driving, right? So you say, well, what if they score here, especially a touchdown, but even a field goal? They're going to get the ball to start the second half.
Because they had those empty possessions in the middle.
The Vikings
with good field position.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And you go, oh, here it is. They're going to mess around with this game, and it's going to be in a ball game. And then, of course, your guy Isaiah took over the ultimate Charles Peanut Tillman impression, brilliantly done, punching the ball out. Has Peanut, has he surfaced? He's got to be proud because that's as good a job of punching the ball out, not just hitting the ball, punching the ball out, as I've seen since Charles Peanut Tillman. And then it became very quickly from that point forward a laugher. Bengals were not interested in participating once the thing got crazy as well.
Now, before we pause for Thielen, we should give an update for those that don't know about Donovan Jackson, who had a great game yesterday. Baldy did a nice breakdown of him today.
Yes.
Had wrist surgery today, according to Kevin O'Connell, and expected back on the field after the Week 7 bye. So he hurt it in Week 2, but the doctors figured he couldn't hurt it any worse. They obviously weren't right, because he had to have a procedure done today, and so now the highly touted left guard,
That's too bad.
who I think had been playing pretty well, not watching the All-22 is going to miss the next handful of games.
It's a brutal game, the game of football. You can write that down and probably have not heard it anywhere before, but it's a violent game. Adam Thielen is just around the corner. Much to get caught up with him, the Vikings veteran wide.
Tyler Reddick here from 2311 Racing. The rush of racing? Nothing beats it. But Chumba Casino comes close. Chumba's got fast spins, fun games, daily bonuses, and all the action you can handle. Now that's a ride. Ready to hit the throttle? Get in the driver's seat and head to ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Life moves fast. A new home, a new baby, a new chapter. But without an estate plan, your future's still vulnerable. With Trust and Will, you can name guardians, start a trust, create healthcare directives, and more. All online in about an hour. It's attorney-designed, state-specific, and built to protect what you love. Plans start at just $199, and every plan is safe, secure, and kept completely private. From families with young kids to adults caring for aging parents, Trust and Will makes it simple to take control, without a law office, paperwork stress, or court delays. Go to trustandwill.com and use code RADIO to save 20%. Start your plan today. Don't wait for life to force your hand. Estate planning is one of the smartest, most loving things you can do. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Trust and Will.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. That means it's tailgate time. And this season, the only meat going on the grill is Dietz and Watson. Some of my favorites are the Black Angus Dietz dogs, the Italian-style chicken sausage, and the Asiago spinach chicken sausage, just to name a few. Oh, and I love the jalapeno mustard. It's flavor-packed, and you could just tell Dietz and Watson uses the highest quality meats in every bite. Dietz and Watson was born in Philly in 1939, and they've been doing it the right way ever since. Visit DietzandWatson.com/the right way to learn more about the Dietz difference.
This is Rob Gronkowski from Dudes on Dudes. Anyone else feeling hungry? Because Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You can stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, mozzarella sticks and marinara, or brew pub pretzels and white cheddar beer cheese. Or you can spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos and their honey Dijon mustard. The choice is yours. The Ultimate Trio is the perfect way to hit all your cravings in one plate and turn appetizers into an entree. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
Receiver, that's next. Join in about an hour and 10 minutes or so. Adam Thielen, kind enough to join us now via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. We congratulate you on a nice victory yesterday at home against the Bengals. You've been around a lot of football. You've seen a lot of games go your way and go the other way, and even a few routes. So was there a point in that game where you said, we're in pretty good shape, that today is going to kind of be our day? When did it dawn in your mind that this might be one of those days that you guys could enjoy?
Well, I'll say this. I think as you go in your career and you get more experience, you start to realize how important momentum is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when we started to get some of the momentum, we go and score on our first drive, we get a turnover, and it's like a pick six, whatever it was, and you get that like momentum, especially at home with our crowd. you start feeling pretty good. But you also had the experience of the other side of that, right? Where you start fast, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's like a tie ball game. So you have both experiences to know how important that momentum is, and also how important it is to keep that momentum. So, there's definitely a point where you're like, all right, we're in a really good spot, but we need to put the foot on the gas. And that's where you could appreciate our leadership as in the coaches to not stop, a lot of times, sometimes teams will just start running the football and run on every snap. And then, you maybe don't get the first, you run some clock off, and then you punt it back, and now they go down and score, and it's a totally different ball game. So you can appreciate the level of just sticking to our game plan of mixing in the run and the pass and getting first downs and really just staying on the field and keeping our defense off the field. But honestly, the way that game went, it wasn't a bad thing when our defense was on the field because they were scoring points. So pretty special to be a part of that, and glad I was on that side of things.
Let me ask you a receiver question. Well, it's actually maybe a receiver running back question. In your view, in your experience, when a receiver or a running back fumbles the ball, how much of it do you think goes back to the responsibility of the ball carrier as opposed to just how good a play is being made defensively? So, because we saw it obviously several times yesterday, ball getting punched out. So is that just a really aggressive, resourceful defensive play, or does some of that go back to how these offensive players are holding on and protecting the football?
I think that was the impressive thing about some of those plays being made yesterday by our defense is they wasn't really loose ball security. Could have they been better? Obviously, yes. But I think there was maybe one, maybe the Jamar fumble that was a little looser, but the other two were, they were just really, really good plays by those defensive players. And then to be able to, in turn, pick it up and go and score or just get on the football and take advantage of causing those turnovers. That's a huge thing, right? Like so many teams, sometimes you punch it out but then the offense recovers it, right? And it doesn't really change the game. So the fact that they were able to get him out and then on top of that recover him was really impressive. But yeah, to answer your question, I think our defense did a really good job of being opportunistic and really forcing them, not just not being handed those turnovers.
Now that you're back, and you're obviously very familiar with this program anyway, but what can you tell us as an offensive player about your own observations regarding the way B-Flow runs a defense? A lot of people around the league say it is extremely unique that on any given, I think it was Brian Baldinger again who breaks down film, somebody did, where it was basically before one snap, it was like the defense was showing about 5 different looks. It was almost ridiculous. What do you see that's different? What has struck you about the Flores approach to running a defense?
I think the biggest thing is, obviously the scheme and making things look all, different looks and different coverages out of the same looks and all that. Obviously that's tough on a defense, but I think just how disruptive that it's coached and it's played, and the leaders on that side of the ball, whether it be coaches or players, the way that it's the disruption is what really sticks out to me. Whether that's disruption in the run game by guys just like popping free and getting tackles for losses, which is huge in this game. To put a defense at 2nd and 12 or even 2nd and 11, like it's a totally different ball game when you're doing that and causing that disruption. And then when they're able to rush and blitz and do all those things and cause disruption in the pass game, you're going to give up some plays here and there. But as you saw in the game on Sunday, you're also able to tip a ball and pick 6, and that's an absolute game-changing play. So I think it's just that disruption for me that sticks out, and everyone talks about it. I think if you're on any team in the NFL, it's like, oh, we got to disrupt them this week. We got to stop the run. We got to make it chaos in the pass game. But I think when you turn on that tape and it shows up week in and week out, that's really fun to see, especially when you're on that team.
You know, it's interesting. Obviously, the crowd got into what was from a home team standpoint, a very entertaining game. Lots of big plays, lots of solid plays, running game working at times, passing game even working at times. I have to think, too, though, a big deal for you guys was come out the way you did offensively, because obviously you out of necessity, you're making a quarterback change. The offense has been struggling through 7 of the first 8 quarters, and it had to be very stabilizing to take the ball with the new QB and to move it the way you guys did. How did you see it?
Yeah, I think it's important. Any team, any year, no matter the circumstances, no matter what week it is, I think it's so important to start fast. And does that always mean scoring a touchdown or scoring a field? No. But it means you got to get first downs. You got to start moving the ball early in the game to give yourself confidence, give yourself momentum, even for the defense. I think sometimes when they see us moving the football on offense, that they know that we can go and sustain drives and then we can put points on the board, I think it gives them confidence to feel like they don't have to be perfect. And they can just go play their game and they can kind of let it loose. And so I think, again, it was obviously great that we went down and scored, but I think it's more important just to be able to sustain drives and get some first downs early in the game. It just makes everything better, from special teams, from field position, offense, defense. I think everybody feeds off that first offensive drive. Do you sense, that's only a 1-week sample size, but do you sense any difference between the way KOC called the game with Wentz as opposed to JJ? Now, again, the game circumstances often have as much to do with that as who's playing the position. But did you notice anything in that regard? Yeah, it's really tough to say, because I think, the situation of the game was a lot different than we've been in the first couple games. So it's really hard to tell. I think at the end of the day, too, regardless of who was at quarterback, we're learning as an offense, as a team, as the play callers. I think everyone's kind of learning what we're going to be, even though you have your scheme and you have all these things. But still, the first 3, 4, 5 weeks of the season, you're really just trying to figure out, what you do well, what we can lean on, what we're going to do. And it's those really, coach always says weighty downs. I never heard of it talked about like that, but those weighty downs, what are you going to lean on? And I think, that changes as the weeks go on regardless. So I'm not really sure if it would have been different or not. At the end of the day, I'm a receiver, so thank the Lord I get to just hear the play call and try to do that, my job to the best of the ability. I don't have to really think much more than that.
Well, and as you've told us, I think you view the receiver job as more than just catching passes. And to that point, I want to play some sound from the Vikings Audio Network broadcast yesterday that got our attention. You're going to hear largely, I think, from a couple comments from Ben Lieber and Pete Bursich. Let's listen.
Hey, and we got to get Ben Lieber to get Adam Thielen a different pair of shoes, because every time he's near the ball, it looks like there's a flag on the play.
Yeah,
it's very distracting.
I know it's very distracting, but what's not distracting is watching him run block. He multiple times has been lined up next to Christian Darrisaw, and they're using him as a chipper on that very last play. He blocked 2 guys, both defensive linemen, on that pass play.
Well, they raised them tough up Detroit Lakes way.
How about that? What do you think?
I like how they know. So a lot of times they don't notice those things as a receiver.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, our job description is to do whatever the play call is, whatever the coach has us line up and do. You got to do it to the best of your ability, because that there's a reason why they're putting you there. It's going to help your team. If you can do your job, and coach talks about it all the time, all 11 doing their individual job on that particular play is how you have success in this league. And so that was my job title for a few of those plays, and try to do it to the best of my ability. And at the end of the day, give the quarterback some time to find guys and score touchdowns.
What was the other thing you talked about, Gargi? The shoes, right?
Yeah. How do you feel about the shoes being a distraction?
Yeah. Are you going to just hang with the distraction, or do you think they might be overstating the issue?
Well, I used to wear the yellow gloves every single game, and I would get a lot of comments about, hey, can you stop wearing those gloves, because I think there's a flag on every play. So I've never heard it about the shoes, but I always like to, have some different colors, switch it up. I got ADD, so I can't wear the same colored cleats every week, so I got to switch it up. So next week won't be all yellow, so they won't have to worry about it, but I'm sure they'll be back at some point.
Didn't you also attract a penalty? And it looked like at first you were worried somehow you were going to get flagged. Tell the fans what happened on that play.
No, I was making sure that they knew the rule.
Okay.
The defender, I went to go block him, and he kind of dove at my legs, and I wasn't sure if they would call it because he kind of just hit the deck per se and just kind of went on the ground. But you can't do that as a defender, which honestly is the first time it's ever happened in my career. Usually guys just try to go right through my face and try to just bull rush me.
Right.
So I guess it is what it is. Maybe that's a compliment. Maybe I've been putting on tape I've been just mauling guys, but I don't think so. But anyways, yes, I was just making sure that they knew the rule, that they can't go low. And I think it would have been a huge play if the guy didn't do that. So too bad, because I think Justin might have scored there.
Yeah, a good point. Adam Thielen with us. A couple more things for him. Do you get much of a sense of how your role will change, if at all, now that Jordan Addison now will be able to come back off suspension?
Yeah, not really sure. At the end of the day, kind of like we just talked about, is like I hear the play call, I do my job, and show back up and figure it out the next play. So I'm not sure what that will look like, but at the end of the day, here to help this team win football games, and I got a lot of confidence in myself as a football player, and at the end of the day, I'm just going to do my job. So we'll see what that looks like, but I'm here to help this team win football games and excited about that opportunity this week.
That's a very modest, nice answer. Have you been around or back long enough to sense that KOC has figured out how you can best help this team?
I think it's a evolving thing. I think every single week, like we talked about it, once you get 4, 5, 6 weeks into the season, I think that's really when you start to settle in as an offense and figure, okay, this is our identity. You have an idea of what that identity, you want that identity to look like, but it kind of shows itself over those 5, 6 weeks. So, again, I'm excited to go practice again because I feel like as a skill player, as an offense, like every day you got to go improve it. And so that's what I do. I come in with that mindset that every single day I got to go out there and I got to go prove that I can play at a high level and let everything else kind of just play itself out. If I go and I bust my butt and I work my butt out, prepare, I can live with the results. So again, just winning football games in this league is a lot of fun. So whatever that takes is exciting for me to be a part of it.
Last item, you guys are about to head on a pretty long road trip. I think you may be leaving on Thursday, and I think you're making history. I think it's the first time one team has had back-to-back games in Europe. So, look, I mean, you've been around this a long time. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to accept it. But how funky do you think that is? Or what are the challenges you think that might pose?
Yeah, definitely funky. Definitely a unique circumstance. But I wouldn't say anything about the first few weeks of this season has been normal. So we're used to it. We're ready for it. This organization is unbelievable with giving us the best resources and the best opportunity to be able to play at our highest level, regardless of the circumstance. So very thankful for that, and just all the people that pour in so much time and effort into really helping us be at our best no matter what that looks like. So I think there's a great plan that they've been planning for a long time to really give us that best chance. But at the end of the day, it's on us as players to sometimes you just got to say, forget it. Like, I don't really care if I feel good or I don't really care if everything's smooth. Like, you still got to go out there and do your job because when a fan is watching it on TV, they're going to judge us the same way. Or if a scout or the is watching the film, like they're not thinking about us having a 9-hour flight and all those things, but the other team's doing the same thing. And they're going to judge you on that tape regardless. So you got to put it on tape, and you got to find a way to be at your best regardless of the circumstance.
Safe travels across the pond. Thanks, as always, for the time. We much appreciate it, and we'll talk next week.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Adam Thielen, Minnesota Vikings wide receiver, on the Vikings laugher of a victory, 48-10 over the Cincinnati Bengals. The Vikings improved to 2-1. The Green Bay Packers regressed to 2-1 with a shocking special teams disaster on a Sunday in which special teams blocked field goals. Was kind of the story of the day.
All over the place.
It's absolutely stunning. The Rams in position after they'd been ahead the whole game. Eagles come back on them, but they still have a chance to steal it. And it goes from a game-winning field goal to a block and a touchdown the other way, and suddenly it's the Eagles by 8, right?
Yeah.
After that.
There's some nugget, too, that the lineman who blocked it, it's like the first time in history that a 350-pound lineman has blocked a field goal and housed it for a game-sealing touchdown or something.
I'll tell you this much. I didn't do any kind of clocking because some people have. That guy looked like the wind running. How often has that been the description of a guy that big? But honest to God, he looked like he was a 100-yard dash sprinter or meter sprinter, did he not?
It was quick.
Unbelievable.
It was very, very quick.
Very, very impressive is what it was. Call back to earlier discussions regarding, I mentioned when Bill Walton won his MVP, I thought he missed a bunch of games. He did. He missed 24 games that year out of 82. So you can do the math on that. That's even a greater percentage than what Fee missed. So it has happened, but I think it's pretty rare. And part of, I think, what hurt Nafisa Collier regarding the WNBA MVP voting was there was another outstanding choice. In the Bill Walton year, I'm not sure that there was. You know, that made it kind of easy, and he was so dominant. That was a championship team.
Have you ever been to a volcano?
As well. And that sort of told the story of Walton's career. I don't think he ever played more than even as many as 58 games again the rest of his career. Now, obviously, he reinvented himself with Boston, but he was in a very different role at that point. So, in any case, interesting. And, you know, in talking with Thielen, and we'll get to this with Lieber later, it is a reminder. We don't think about it much. We don't really talk about it much, how receivers, even if they're not catching the ball, can be helpful, right? And in truth, some of the best running games have been predicated, not entirely, but in part, on receivers who are physical enough or just committed enough to the bit.
Yep.
To get involved. Sometimes it's just getting in the way. It's not necessarily a brilliant block. It's just get in the way, learn how to use your body to just give that lean and get in the defender's way to a point where then the running back is by for another couple extra yards.
I don't remember which run it was. It was one of Jordan Mason's run, who was outstanding yesterday. I know we've got a talking point on that. But Romo, it was funny hearing him not talk about Thielen, but Justin Jefferson just going up and basically giving one guy like a little bit of a thump. Like it wasn't like he tried to pancake him 20 yards down the field.
Yes, I remember that play.
But Romo saying, tell you what, for a superstar wide receiver, that's about as good as you're going to see from some of those guys. So it was like a backhanded compliment, but I thought it was instructive. That
it was.
Because Jefferson, I do think, likes to get his hands dirty a little bit every once in a while. And obviously Thielen does too.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Somebody wanted me to ask Thielen whether he deliberately dropped the pass from Brosmer just so he wasn't accused of encouraging a quarterback controversy.
I mean, it's too catchable of a ball.
And was it very catchable? I didn't see. I actually left the game at that point.
I don't blame you for that.
It was so one-sided. I said, well, what could be? Now, other than, again, you know, Brosmer Brownstones, you want to pay attention a little bit to what's going on there. But
and then they took the ball out of his hands. Then they just ran the clock out. It was very disappointing.
Do you think that you think the fear that KOC had was if I give him too much license here to show off his passing artistry, I am going to have a quarterback controversy, not involving McCarthy at all, but between Wentz, do I start Wentz or Brosmer next week?
I cannot rule that out.
No, you can't.
I can't rule that possibility out. Yeah. I think Nance called him Brosner for the first couple times.
I wondered. I thought he did too, but then I thought I don't always hear very well.
Nance
I thought he said
fastball. Now, to be fair to Nance and Romo, the game was completely pear-shaped. They were 50 guys down in the depth chart. You got to give him a little bit of a break. He had Mark and Ziggy as father-son for a minute, so that got corrected.
Did he? I didn't hear that. I don't remember
there's
that.
Mark, and there's his dad, Ziggy, in the back. But that shows you how good the network people are. He had that corrected in 6 seconds. There was somebody either in his ear or whatever that was because by the time Tony got done talking about what a great building the Wilfs has built here and in Eagan, Nance could cycle back with, and they're brothers. They're brothers. Said father-son earlier. They're brothers. But he had Brosner going for a minute, and then they talked Brosmer up. Throws an absolute dot to Thielen. Somebody had gone the wrong way, so he had to throw it past his own guy.
Right.
And Romo's even like, that was a pretty good ball, Jim. That was a pretty good ball. A guy coming in here undrafted. Pretty good ball. So I don't know if word got down that it was getting too thick, but they pretty much handed the ball off. Second down pass wasn't as good. It was also a drop.
Right.
But just saying, don't let him see the field, man. That's all I'm saying.
I'm waiting for the first time you might acknowledge that he just threw a bad pass.
I just said it wasn't as good a throw.
Oh, you did say
Second
that?
down.
Oh, I thought you said it was a drop.
It was catchable.
Oh, it was catchable.
It wasn't as good a throw.
I'm shocked you acknowledge even as much as that then.
Trying to be fair.
Okay.
Trying to be fair to Brosner.
Yeah, that's what I thought I heard too, but I said, well, I could. That's one way. Could easily misread or misunderstand. So I didn't think it was.
They'll know one day.
It wasn't the story of the game. I don't think, unfortunately, except for you. I understand for you. And
he got a great ovation going in.
Oh God, we got an ovation before he went in.
Yeah.
As soon as because I heard an ovation, and I said, I guarantee you, he's warming up on the sidelines. And what he was doing instead was he was hiking the ball, whoever the center was at that point. I don't know if it was the same backup or another backup, just to help out, just figuring out if I can take the snap. They were already cheering him from that point forward. So we'll see. But part of the thing on the Carter run, off the blocked field goal, is that what do we usually see with guys that big? Sometimes they do have a burst, but then if they have to go that far, sooner or later, they just run out of gas. And they just start gasping and tripping, and then somebody catches them. And in his case, he just kept getting faster.
He could have gone to the tunnel right up to the locker room if he needed to.
I think he could have. Top of the hour pause. Vikings talking points to get to, brought to you by Federated Insurance. Lieber in about 45 minutes. Don't go.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Applebee's just cooked up the ultimate option play with their new Ultimate Trio deal. You can choose from 3 of their delicious appetizers and pair them up with 3 sauces for just $14.99. Craft your perfect trio from over 80,000 different combinations in this flavor-packed plate built for one, or to share if you're generous. You could stick with the classic pairings like boneless wings and buffalo sauce, or you could spice things up and try some unexpected combinations like dipping chicken wonton tacos in their honey Dijon mustard. It's time to head to your neighborhood Applebee's or order online today. That's eating good in the neighborhood. This is Julian Edelman from Games with Names. Football is back. That means it's tailgate time, and this season, the only meat I'm going to grill is Dietz and Watson. I'm loving the Black Angus Dietz dogs. They're flavor-packed, and you can tell they are made with the highest quality ingredients. Sundays just got a whole lot better. Visit DietzandWatson.com/therightway to learn more about the Dietz difference.
America is changing, and so is the world.
But what's happening in America isn't just the cause of global upheaval. It's also a symptom of disruption that's happening everywhere.
I'm Asma Khalid in Washington, D.C.
I'm Tristan Redman in London, and this is The Global Story.
Every weekday, we'll bring you a story from this intersection where the world and America meet.
Listen on BBC.com or wherever you get your podcasts.